Welcome back to HVAC Shop Talk. I'm your host, Zach Ciota, and let me just give you a little insight onto the life of fathers. The life of fathers. It's HVAC related because many of you guys out there are fathers. This will go for mothers too, but it's especially right for fathers on account of the contents of the story. So, throughout the day today, I've been working outside. I was scrapping out a unit earlier. I assembled some planters that I'm making out of old decking boards to sell on Facebook Marketplace. Having a good day. I enjoy that sort of thing. That's the pinnacle of my existence, just to work with my hands in the yard. And it really is true, and I really do enjoy it a whole lot. But it came to an end. As the day went on, I had to go take Jackson, my youngest son, the 3-year-old, to speech therapy. As many of you know, my boys are autistic, and Jackson is autistic just like the rest of them. He has a speech delay, so he goes to speech therapy, which is going really, really well. Really, really great. But he goes twice a week, and he gets speech therapy in his preschool as well, which he just started going to within the last month or so. So it's an exciting time to be Jackson. He loves dinosaurs, and life is good. Most of the time. So I take Jackson to his speech therapy. It happens at 3:30 p.m., runs from 3:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. My daughter comes up to me and says, "Dad, you have to take me to Burgaw after that," which is a town about 15 minutes south of where we're going to be. I have to pick out a wedding dress. This is the actual story. I have to pick out a wedding dress because I'm leading a ghost walk tour in the town of Burgaw that I volunteered for. Actually, she volunteered for 2 different positions, which is impossible to fill as she is only one person. But she ended up shifting from 2 positions back down to the feasible 1 position. So I had to take her to the Burgaw tourism office so that she may pick out a wedding dress, which is what the girls are wearing on this particular tour. It's like, awesome. Okay, all right. And keeping in mind that I wanted to get back to doing some of the work I was doing already. I have a lot of stuff to do, including recording this podcast video. I had to record this. I had to record one for the tools. We have Men with Issues tomorrow night. Me and Justin are recording for a show that's going to occur. Well, we'll see when it's going to occur. Maybe it's going to occur tonight. I'm trying to get it so they occur all in one night so you can watch them all if you want to and just watch all the live stuff at one fell swoop. But we'll see. That's neither here nor there. We're working that out right now. Hopefully it's worked out by the time you watch this. So, all right, Mallory jumps in the car with me. Okay, this is fatherhood at its best. All right, just get in the car because we don't have enough time to go back to the house. Get in the car and come with me. All right. So, we take Jackson to speech therapy. We dump him off. Have a short conversation with the therapist. And we're on our merry way. I have to go by the bank to make a deposit. I have to go get some gas because my wife brought the car back. Again, I'm wincing for people on the podcast. It's an actual wince. Like that. Just imagine it. My wife brought the car back with the fuel light on, again. That's a pet peeve for many of the male kind out there, and the female kind, for some reason, brings the car back. He'll get gas, that's fine. Hey, that's okay. So we had to get some gas before the car just stopped working on account that it runs on gas. Did that, went to get the deposit. After that, we went over to Walgreens, had to pick up a prescription for my daughter's birth control pills. That's right. Everybody's growing up here. That's not what you think it means. It's just part of medical. I don't know how to say this, people. This is because I'm a father. It helps her medically, but it's not for the purpose stated in the name. How's that? Figure it out. Whatever. Who cares? It's just part of the story. It just makes it all the more entertaining. Walgreens is batting 0 for 2 here lately. When I drive up through the drive-through window, I say, I have to pick up these, and they say, it's still being processed. It's been filled, but not processed. Great. Okay. So I head back to pick up Jackson. Jackson is doing great. He's having a great time. Right then, Jackson is much like one of those tropical waves coming off of Africa. He's excited, but nothing bad has happened yet. Okay. So we drive on to Burgaw. Got to take Mallory to get her wedding dress. I take her to the tourism office, which, by the way, my father's company, with my assistance, actually installed the HVAC in that building. It's a small world, isn't it? the boxes that are in the floor. They're not boots. They're like little drop boxes that are, I don't know, 12 by 4 grills go in there. So they're probably 12.5 by 4.5 by like 18 inches deep. I built those, and there's a YouTube video of me building those. I don't know. It's like probably 6 or 7 years ago now. So that's out there on YouTube somewhere. It's just a small world. It's kind of funny. This is HVAC Shop Talk, so I'm telling you about the HVAC there. We put it in. It's a Trane package unit, a heat pump, has a filter door on the outside. It's the first time and only time that I've put in a Trane package unit and replaced the door on the package unit. This is residential package unit with a door that has an integrated access, and on the inside there's a filter rack that goes on the indoor coil. It's the first time and only time I've ever done that. Works great. Worked fine. Good parts. Good unit. Trane's good unit. American Standard. Could have been either one. I say Trane, but it could have been American Standard. Job went great. Air conditioning works great. My very own daughter, when I told her that we did that job, because that's what we do, whenever we go by a building, just like the meme says online, it's really correct. You say, hey, we did that job with such pride, like you're the first person to ever put an air conditioner in that actually worked. It's like, hey, that air conditioner right there, we did that. And my daughter's like, yeah, whatever. Who cares? And I think about it, I'm like, yeah, who does care? Why is that? Who cares? It doesn't matter. So she picked out her wedding dress. That only took an hour. That's right. It took an hour for her to pick out a dress because she's a freshman in high school and she's hit a growth spurt and she's taller than my wife. It's now difficult to find a wedding dress for a Halloween event at the last minute. There's a line you thought you'd never hear, and a line I thought I'd never speak. But at this time, the tropical wave, which was Jackson coming off of Africa there, had begun to take on the characteristics of a small yet very powerful hurricane. I looked in the back seat, got Jackson out. We walked Mallory up to the building. Everything's still fine. We're having a good time. We leave the building. We're walking through the gravel parking lot. Jackson trips and smacks his leg on a rock, gashes his leg open. Nothing that needs medical attention. But Jackson was basically, in his own mind, just impaled by like a spear or something, because he screamed. He screamed loud, and I consoled him. Not uncommon for this to happen. He's 3 years old. They fall down. They cry. Cry and cry and cry. Settle down finally. I gave him his little tablet, which is our safety device, which if Jackson's having a bad time, it's like you pull the rip cord and it doesn't come out. You pull that second rip cord. That's the tablet. It comes out. The tablet. We're those parents. That's correct. We are bad, bad people. So I gave him his tablet, and he was somewhat receptive and somewhat not. So I started to panic. I was like, all right, this is what happens this is the last straw. This is what we bring out whenever, this is our last effort here. I don't know how to say it. There's nothing else that we can do. There's no other tools in my fatherhood repertoire, which is unfortunate, because at that moment, I realized, looking in the back seat at Jackson's face, he was, the best word is probably squinched. His face was squinched up. It was completely red and had the looks of a man that had to go to the bathroom but couldn't make it happen. And Jackson definitely had to go to the bathroom and couldn't make it happen. His legs had assumed the position that a woman's legs would assume if she was giving birth and they were up in stirrups. And he was trying to maximize the amount of leverage that it was possible to get in his car seat in order to produce what he needed to produce and get rid of what he needed to get rid of, which he didn't. He didn't. He struggled and struggled, and I talked to him. And I chose the one car that we have that doesn't have like a little DVD player in the ceiling or something like that. Even my truck's a 2013 GMC Sierra, and you can play movies on the little screen in the middle. Until recently, I've never had a vehicle that could do that. So I'm like a country person, sitting there like, gosh darn, there's a TV in the car. That's the best thing I ever did see. That's really what I was thinking there. Whenever I sat in the truck for the first time, I'm like, what? You can watch television in the car? And the guy's like, no, you driving can't, but other people can. You got to watch out for that too, because every now and then you start drifting down. It's like, what's going on down there on TV? Really got to watch that. Really got to watch that. But I didn't choose to bring that vehicle. I choose to bring the one that has no TV at all. In fact, it's the one I drive all the time now. It's a GMC It's a small SUV. I'm going to sit here. I can open this door and find out what it is. No, it's not a GMC. It's a Chevy Equinox. It's nice, too. It's like the highest trim level from not this year. Really nice to drive. Really cool. Got navigation. Got XM radio somehow. I don't pay for it. I don't know how it has it. I'm not sure what's going on when I get in that car. I just know it's nice. But it doesn't have what Jackson needs, and his face is five shades of red, deeper in color now. But you can tell he's getting tired. He's starting to drift off. His eyes are closing and opening. He's tired from fighting this, what can only be described as a bulbous turd trying to escape his body. So Jackson, he's getting tired. Mallory finally comes out after finding her dress after the 1 hour, or what felt like. The Bible says that a day is like 1,000 years to God. They're interchangeable, I guess. And this hour was like a day to me. So I kind of understand the Bible now. Time slowed down, almost to a stop. But she came out. She had her dress in hand. She showed me a picture. She looked lovely in her dress, a little bit sad. Kind of reminded me that one day she's going to go off and marry somebody, hopefully the right person. Hopefully the right person. It's a different subject altogether. She's 14. Whatever. So we drive away. Jackson falls asleep. I'm like, all right, good deal. I'm super happy because I have to go to Walmart. I have to go to Walmart for two reasons. I have to get a case of drinks. I'm holding up my Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar right now. They should sponsor this show because they taste great. I'm nodding and smiling right now, podcast people, because they do taste great. Coke Zero, Dr. Pepper Zero, and Pepsi Zero make it easy to drink a 0-calorie drink. So if you are trying to lose weight, which I'm trying to do, get one of those drinks. If you usually drink soda, it really helps out a lot. Also, drink some water. Make sure you're drinking water. Got to drink the water, too. Health tips with Zach. Let's stop that for right now. So we leave. Jackson falls asleep. Okay, I need to go to Walmart. Got to get the drinks. I have to buy a hammer. So I'm going to go buy one of those heart hammers that looks really nice. It looks like a hammer that's more expensive. For you guys out there, you go to Walmart and see they have heart tools now. I bought several of them. I've tried out several of them. So I need a hammer. So I just get a regular 16-ounce hammer. I don't need one of these huge framing hammers with a waffle head that I'm just going to hit my finger with and rip the nail off of. I just need a nice plumber-style hammer. I want to try the heart, so I bought it. But I had to make it to Walmart. And on the way to Walmart, Jackson woke up again. And he was angry because he woke up because the Turdatron 4000 was trying to escape again, and he couldn't get it out. So he was upset. We're almost to Walmart. I make it through the Walgreens drive-thru, which is amazing. There was no one ahead of me. It's a miracle because they started doing COVID testing too through the drive-thru somehow. I don't know how that works because it's just a little tray that opens. I don't know if there's a long swab that goes all the way up in your brain because they do swab your brain on some of these. Neither here nor there. Got through the drive-thru, almost to Walmart. At this point, we're going to make it happen. I'm telling Mallory, you call me. I'll be in the store if there's a problem. I go in the store as fast as I can. I run down there and I get my drinks. I run and get that's right, baby suppositories. And the other thing I had to get, which I failed to mention until now, the feminine hygiene products for my daughter. So far, let's keep score here. I've got a buggy for you people up north, or a shopping cart for you people down south. I have drinks in it, 0-calorie drinks. I have baby suppositories. I have maxi pads. So basically it looks like I'm some sort of person that's the bad guy on Criminal Minds going out to shop. And guess what I buy next? A hammer. So I can't decide whether or not the hammer is going to be perceived as the weapon that's used to kill my victims or the weapon that I'm going to use to bludgeon myself to death once the day is over. It's going to be one of those two things. I'm not positive. So I take my hammer, maxi pads, baby suppository, and drinks, and I find some deck screws that I need because it's Walmart and they have everything. I look around at the tools for about 2 minutes, which is lower than my normal 10-minute time because there is a potential disaster brewing in the car. Jackson's category 3 could be category 4 by the time I get back. And like a boss, Mallory is outside. Jackson gets upset. She never calls me. When I got out to the car, she was sitting in the back seat. That's a telltale sign there was a problem. She had to transfer from the front seat to the back seat to console Jackson. She never called me. very mature, very grown up with Mallory, which is more and more the case with her. Ever since she got to high school, she's been doing ROTC, and she's been doing track and field, running cross country, and you can see a real mature change in her, which I'm very proud of. It's really, really great. Same thing with Andrew. He participates in those sports and things like that. We just have to get Landon. I got Landon to read the book of Colossians, which is probably as good as it gets right now, but he's still kind of a lazy bird. We could talk about this stuff forever, guys. But this story was hilarious because it's what we all go through, especially the older ones of us in the trade who have kids and stuff. You think that at work you face your trials, but that's just part of it. In fact, a lot of times if you're married with a bunch of children, going to work can be kind of a break. You go to work to relax. I know I enjoy my work. I did back in the day. I do now. I've been lucky enough and blessed enough by God to be given things that I love to do. And I've pursued those things. I've made them work too. I've taken what God gave me and I've worked hard to expand on it, and not expand as in make it greater than what God can give me, but just expand as in take the opportunities and max them out as far as they can go, and been happy with what I've chosen and been able to provide with what I've chosen. What a day. So everybody gets home eventually. Jackson gets rid of his bulbous turd, and he gets rid of it while taking a bath. And that is the perfect period, literally floating brown period, to the end of the day. He's asleep now. We put him to bed. Let's see. I'm recording this, and I can't see because I have my camera remote on my phone right now, but I'm recording at between 9:30 and 10 p.m. Jackson's been asleep for probably about half an hour, and it's just another end to a typical day, a typical family day. I know our guys have to deal with this stuff all the time, which kind of makes work worthwhile because it's a crazy story and there's a lot of potential negatives there. But family life is beautiful, and you've been given this great gift, and it's wonderful. And it really reminds you, this is what you're working for. God has given you these things. God has given you the opportunity to have a great job, the opportunity to have a great and godly family. And it's just a pleasure to work for them and provide for them. It really is. That's all I can say about it. And thank God for that. But a funny story that I hope you guys enjoyed. Now, we're going to take a break because my story was really, really long. We're going to take a break. I have a lot of great sponsors for this show. They've been wonderful and great to just partner up, some for a very, very long time. Guys like Yellow Jacket. Yellow Jacket's been with the show for 4 years now. It's so incredible to me that a company like Yellow Jacket, which is so well known through my whole career, I was like, this is Yellow Jacket manifold, these are Yellow Jacket hoses. And to think that they would partner with the show that I created just blows my mind. It just seems like there must be some kind of mistake. But I'm awful grateful and I'm thankful to them. And what I'll talk about from them today is the YJAC probes. The YJAC probes are wireless, long-range Bluetooth HVAC analyzer probes that include pressure probes, psychometric probes, and pipe clamps. I'm looking to do a holistic analysis of my house. That's something that's been a long time coming, which I will get to you guys using these probes. They stay connected for a huge distance. We did a video not too long ago, and the distance was like 800 feet that you could stay connected with the repeater. It's pretty awesome. It's the longest connection distance I think I've ever found. So Yellow Jacket is the way to go. They have an upgraded app now, the YJAC View app, that allows you to see capacity. You get a whole lot of different calculations. All you have to supply them is the airflow, which I like supplying the airflow through a secondary process, not necessarily through an app analysis. I like doing it through a process like you can use static pressure, you can use the vane anemometer, you can use a hot wire anemometer, plug it in, it'll give you everything you need to know. But we're going to go on to NAVAC. NAVAC, another great sponsor of the show. Their vacuum pump line is really what they're centered around. They do a lot of stuff now. We talked about the flaring tool, but their vacuum pumps are like their flagship. And the 4 CFM battery vacuum pump is my favorite. I love it. The 2 CFM is great too. I just like the 4 because it's got that extra bit of capacity that allows you to work on a little bit larger machines, maybe go a little bit faster. You one hose guys, I don't know how it affects one hose guys, but when I team that vacuum pump with some of the larger diameter hoses, it does a wonderful job I've never had an issue with battery life. There's 2 batteries that I have. I do suggest that. I think it probably comes with 1, but you want to buy that second battery. You use an 18 volt, I think it's 9 amp hour lithium battery, and it lasts about an hour with that pump, and typically that's all you're going to need. Get that second battery though. Still get the second battery. It's just smart. That way you can rotate, charge and rotate, charge and rotate. Here's where I can meld 2 sponsors together. Here it goes. You can go to TrueTechTools.com, which a lot of you guys trust. That's Bill Spohn and friends over there. Use our Shop Talk discount code to save 8%. And I think on the 4CFM vacuum pump, that's probably going to save you about $50-$60. So a significant amount of money. So that's Shop Talk at TrueTechTools.com. You put that in at checkout to save 8%. Now let's talk about refrigeration technologies. Man, I like those guys. Big Blue. I kind of rambled with the Yellow Jacket story, so I'm going to have to be more concise now. Big Blue, pan and drain treatment, HVAC chemicals out the wazoo. They're fantastic. A really, really great company. Really great story. John Pastorello, the chemist technician. He's a technician and a chemist. Come on. That's pretty cool, right? He created all these products. I got one right here, Big Blue. I had it sitting here since last time. Pan and drain treatment to clean the condensate in a way that's not going to create the sludge and goo that many of you are used to. Reduce the goo. Pan and drain treatment. They have wet rag heat blocking putty. You put it on the piping to protect like reversing valves, TXVs, other sensitive areas for brazing. They also have a gel you can use for low temperature soldering. So there's an application for both. I typically use the wet rag, but I've used the gels in the past. I prefer wet rag. I like that better. I like the way it handles better. I have like an aversion to the texture of the goo when I'm trying to clean it up. I just dislike that. That's just me. But I like the wet rag. Go with the wet rag and you'll be good to go. That stuff is also available at TrueTech Tools. TrueTech Tools gets twice the exposure today, guys. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about EWC. EWC is a zone system I put in at my house. We have a huge video on that. It's like an hour long. I go through all the steps of installing the zone system at my house, from the damper install to the zone panel setup. BM Plus 3000 is the panel. Really awesome. A lot of customability. That doesn't seem like the right word. Is that even a word? How about it's highly customizable? That's better. Highly customizable panel. You can set delays between stages, for electric heat, for second stage compressor, or in my case, second stage fan, which the compressor reacts to since I have the Bosch. Really, really cool. Allows you to fiddle around and make sure you got the comfort settings exactly where you want them without sacrificing capacity. Really great. That's the BM Plus 3000 zone panel. It's EWC. Really good stuff. Really nice stuff, and great customer service. Last but not least, we have Emerson with their new All-Spark ignition controller. A lot of you guys are familiar with seeing these ignition controls from back in the day. These old clunkers, we're just going to call them that. They're old clunkers. Emerson has done with these controls what they did with like the Sure Switch and their defrost controls with their updated and now Bluetooth. That's right, it's Bluetooth or NFC, which is near field communication, where this is what I've learned here. I didn't know this before, that you bring devices very close together, and I guess that's why the Samsung people used to tap their phones together and get each other's pictures. Near field communication. It's only good up close. You can actually set this board up wirelessly. Very cool. And all the different parameters, which there are many. I had the paper sitting here, but you can customize it to whatever ignition control was there before. There's a whole lot of customability to it. Again, I'm not quite sure if that's a word, but I'm going to use it, and I feel like you understand it whether or not it's really a word or not. It's highly customizability. That's right. I think you understand me. It's a great board, part of their innovations in this category, which, just like the defrost board, just like the Sure Switch before, which I think is the bee's knees. I love it. Okay, so we talked scrap last time, and I was telling you guys about the lessons you can learn by scrapping. Well, I don't mean like fighting people in the schoolyard. We used to call that scrapping too. I'm talking about actual tearing units apart. That's what I'm talking about. But I had all my stuff, and by all my stuff, I think everything that I had ripped apart, I had it piled in the old GMC Sierra heading for the scrap yard earlier today, actually. I piled it in there. There's still a few more units to scrap, which I started on here when I got back. Still a few more units to scrap. There's a bunch of compressors out there that need to be taken. There's some motors that have to be taken in. But I asked you guys on YouTube how much the scrap was worth. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a picture up on the screen right here, and I'm going to show you a quick picture of the back of my truck. I'm going to let each one of you guess what the correct answer is. How many dollars did I earn from taking this load of scrap in? It's a lot of copper and aluminum coils. It's a lot of number 2 copper, and it added up. And I was surprised. It's been a long time since I scrapped copper, and the market goes up and down. And I was surprised that the market's up higher now. So I was surprised how much I actually got in. And boy, I was sitting there imagining stuff. You know, just imagining what kind of tools you could buy. Man, it's so great. I just love it. I didn't buy any tools because I'm trying to be responsible. And here's what I'm doing now. And it seems so, not infantile, but simple, I guess. What I'm doing now is if I want something, like I would like to expand my porch. We have a ramp put in for my mother-in-law because she is 82 and she can't go down the stairs and up the stairs. So we have a ramp put in, but now that's the only way to get out that back door, which used to be our main way out to where I go and barbecue and stuff like that. So I'd like to expand my porch and then put the steps that were already on there because they were taken off for the ramp, put them back on, make a little 8x8 porch or 10x8, just something small, 12x8 maybe, 14x8. It's getting bigger in my mind now. But I want a little bit of a porch there so I can sit out there. I like sitting outside, just watching the animals, listening to cars go by. I'm like an old person or something. I drink my Dr. Pepper Zero, and I play podcasts and stuff. I enjoy that. I think it's great. That's one of the things I want. I want a huge Milwaukee tool set. I want a Milwaukee framing nailer M18. I really want that bad. It's expensive, though. They're like $400. I don't have any M18 stuff. I have a bunch of M12 stuff. I'm going to let you know it's awesome. I'm just saving money as well, just saving money for a rainy day, continuing to do that. My family, or my wife and I should say, my children don't help at all, but my wife and I have a savings. We have a safe underground in a mountain somewhere that has some cash money perhaps in it, and I'd like to continue putting stuff into that, for the future. So what I did is I made this box that has a lock on it, and I put my little savings in here, and when I reach a certain point, I can put them into the safe. So I have all these little sectioned off areas, and that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to be more responsible because, creativity has been an asset to me in the past, but fiscal responsibility, not so much. I've had to learn that as I've gotten older. I've made a lot of bad mistakes and set myself back quite a bit. I wish I could speak to you guys and have like a cautionary tale about that, how being responsible with money early on really puts you ahead of the game. Balancing your checkbook, it's really important. Checking your bank account online each day, or at least each week, or every now and then, just to see that you have money. There are any mysterious charges. There's nothing going on that you don't recall or is fraudulent. And if you have to save up to get something, you plan a lot better. That's what I'm trying to do. If I want something, just put a little bit of money away. Don't use the money you have and say, well, I got plenty of money right now. I'll go ahead and buy it. Just treat it like it's something that has to be saved for no matter what, within reason. I mean, if it's like $10, no. But, the porch extension, that's going to be a few $100s at least. I'll build it myself, but the materials will be a few $100. Stuff like that. The Milwaukee tools, they won't give me those for free. At least I don't think they will. Milwaukee. No? Okay, no. All right. No, I didn't think so. I'm just trying to be more responsible. As I get older, I learned a little bit of this. It would have been nice to learn it long ago, but you know what? Everybody learns at their own pace. That kind of transmits right to the field. I mean, everybody learns at their own pace. Sometimes you read a book, you get out there in the field, you understand it, great. Sometimes it takes people a few years before they grasp a technique. It's the way it is. It's not all of us learn at the same speed, and that doesn't mean that the person who learns slower is going to be worse off or less successful. Sometimes those people, like these dark horses, I remember people from school, you'd see them, it's like, well, that kid makes like C's, and he's okay at school, but I mean, he's not, his name isn't called at the assemblies. He's not getting a nice piece of paper that his mother can put on a refrigerator and then lose. But it ends up that kid just had to run its course. He had to mature. And all of a sudden I see plenty of these people that come up and now they own companies and things like that. So don't be down on anybody because of the speed. Don't be down on yourself because of shortcomings you have. I mean, that's stuff you can work out over time. It really is. I really do believe that because I see it happen in myself. And I know that I've always been relatively intelligent as far as school. I made good grades in school whenever I went to school. That's a different story. Senior year, I might have played hooky quite a bit to go to a certain pool hall in a certain town and smoke all day while playing pool, which did not do my grades any favors and didn't do my collegiate career any favors. And I just was on a different path. My son's doing so much better than me. That's a conversation we had earlier. But give people time, work with them, have faith in them. They'll surprise you, is basically what I'm saying. So let's end this thing up. I'm going to flip pages to the New Testament. Let's find something good. Let's see what we got here. Man, here we go. Suffering as a Christian. I don't know. Is that a downer? That might be a downer. You know, we'll read it because a lot of the world today, we can't stand to suffer. You know, our world has to be perfect. Our world has to be just, might be the right word. If some wrong has been done to you, it needs to be made right. It ain't fair. You got to be fair. Well, the world isn't fair. We know that. The world's often not fair. This is 1 Peter chapter 4, going on to verse 12. Suffering as a Christian. Beloved, do not be surprised at the fiery trial when it comes upon you to test you, as though something strange were happening to you. But rejoice insofar as you share Christ's sufferings, that you may also rejoice and be glad when his glory is revealed. If you are insulted for the name of Christ, you are blessed, because the Spirit of glory and of God rests upon you. But let none of you suffer as a murderer or a thief or an evildoer or a meddler. Yet if anyone suffers as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God in that name. For it is time for judgment to begin at the household of God. And if it begins with us, what will be the outcome for those who do not obey the gospel of God? And if the righteous is scarcely saved, what will become of the ungodly or the sinner? Therefore, let those who suffer according to God's will entrust their souls to a faithful Creator while doing good. I mean, we talked about this a bunch of times, guys. Life ain't fair. This life isn't fair. Maybe that's more accurate. Just because you're having a hard time, just because you don't think life's fair, doesn't mean it won't work out in the end, and doesn't mean that no one loves you or cares for you, that you're alone in this world, that there is no God looking out for you. Because just because you suffer, look at Jesus. That's what he's mentioned. Jesus suffered more than any man before him or after him. Paul, he suffered a ton. The Apostle Paul, and when he was thrown into the jails, and the Philippian jails, what did he do? He sang. He sang all night. Life ain't fair, but how you look at life makes a world of difference. In fact, reality is perception. That's what people say. Reality is perception. So when you look out at life, think about all the positives and look at the beautiful world God has given us to hang out in while we're waiting for the next world. There's a lot of good things out there. Family, friendship, our work. We enjoy our work. Be thankful for it. Thank God for what he's given you. He's given you so much. Be grateful for it. And if you suffer, thank God for that too, because Jesus suffered, and you can understand what it was like to be the Savior of all mankind, even in a small degree. I guess that's my final word for tonight, guys. I really do appreciate you staying the whole time here. It means a lot to me that you tune into this. If you don't tune in for the video, I hope you tuned in for the podcast, which comes out a few days later. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Like the video. You can't like the podcast, but you can subscribe to a podcast on a podcast app. I appreciate you doing that. If you leave a review for the podcast, it makes a big difference because people will, I think, get more exposure to it. Wherever that may be, they may offer the podcast to more people as a suggestion. And it helps. And I read those reviews, and it makes me feel good when you guys find something good in the show. So I really do appreciate that. And I will see you on the next one.